Hi. Hello, everyone. I'm Jen. I am writing the pin comment right now. Hi. We're just waiting on Leah. Let's see. Live with Leah Lewis. From the half of it. How are you guys? The half of it. Q&A. Hello. Post. Where are you and who are you? Great questions, Katerina. Hi, I'm Jen. I am our Director of Social Storytelling, and I am currently in South Jersey, but I'm based in New York. Let me pin this. Okay, trying to multitask here. Hi. Okay, so for people joining, I am Jen. I am our Director of Social Storytelling here at Slanted. So the things that you see on the feed and on the stories, I oversee. And I am going to go live with a Q&A with Leah Lewis. Hi, Amanda. And we're going to do some questions and answers about her new movie, The Half of It. I'm currently sitting in front of my window. And yeah, we're just going to wait a few minutes for Leah. I saw a lot of the questions that were posted on the feed post, and they were so good. But, ooh, I see that Leah has joined, and she'll probably call in soon. I wrote all the questions down. Ooh. And I'll be looking at my laptop during this to see. And I also have Katerina, one of our co-founders, slacking me any alerts and stuff for like the 1 hour mark. But Hermione 2020. How many of you guys have actually seen the movie? I watched it 2 weeks ago and I loved it. Let me wave at all these people. Oh, you just requested? I don't see it actually. Oh, I see. It's connecting. Yeah, what did you guys think about the movie?
Hey,
Hi. I'm Jen.
how are you?
Good,
I'm
how are
Leah.
you?
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you as well. I kind of feel like I should have worn something darker because it's like
No, not at
overexposed.
all. We're like yin and yang.
Oh yeah, I love it. I was just explaining to people who we are, why we're here. But I'm the Director of Social Storytelling here at Slanted. This is Leah Lewis, aka Ellie True of The Half of It. And we're doing a live Q&A. A lot of people have submitted questions already. I think I sent some over to you and you saw them. But
Yes.
people also posted on the feed post. And then I was thinking at the end we could just have some impromptu questions. I have our co-founder, Katerina, slacking me them because I'm like kind of far away from the screen right now. And unless I wear my glasses, I can't actually read the
Oh
comments.
no.
But
Okay.
so you may see
Sweet.
me bring out my laptop.
Yeah,
But
do
how
whatever
are
you need to
you?
do.
How was your day? How's
I
it been?
I'm good. As good as one could possibly be amidst these crazy times.
Yeah.
I It's kind of weird because I have been like reading everyone's comments on Instagram and Twitter and like bawling my eyes out over them. I just want everyone to know like I read everything. I love you
It's
too,
been so
Brazil.
amazing. I've been watching like an outpouring of like love.
It's wild, and I've just been sitting in my kitchen, just like, oh my goodness, like there's so much love towards this. And I've been texting back and forth with Alexis and Daniel, being like, have you seen this? And look at that. And like
Mm,
it's been really cool. But other
that's
than
so
that, just
good.
trying to stay sane and healthy during this time.
Yeah. What have you
Um,
been doing? We've been like featuring a few things that like people have been doing to stay sane, cope, whether it's like productive or not productive. What have you been up to?
I mean, there's really productive days for me, and then there's really non-productive days. But
Yeah.
even those non-productive days, I really just kind of take it easy and relax, and just I'm really gentle with myself. I've been
I love
trying
that.
to, thank you. I've been trying to read a lot of books, write, and just kind of get my feelings out, so they're not just like all bottled in while I'm in
Yeah.
quarantine, and just reaching out to my loved ones and my family members and just trying to be of service to them. I feel like that helps a lot during this.
Yeah.
Just,
It
I'm
like
so glad that
grounds
we
you
have,
in a way.
yeah, you're like, oh my gosh, like my people are out there and they're not so far away and we're actually not so alone at
Hmm.
all. How about you?
Reading, writing. What are you
Hmm.
actually reading right now?
Right now, I am slowly reading In Cold Blood by Truman Capote.
Hmm. I love that. Slowly and gently.
Slowly, I just started it before press for the half of it began, and I've been kind of finding it hard to get back to this really intense murder mystery after the excitement of this whole week. So I've just
Oh yeah, I'm
been
sure.
slowly plugging through it.
I'm reading right now Ocean Vuong's book, On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. I'm
How is
finishing it.
it?
It's gorgeous. It's amazing. I'm finishing it for the Slanted Book Club. We're hosting our
Okay,
first one on Saturday, and
I'm
it's a
writing this
beautiful
down.
book. Yeah.
Briefly Gorgeous. I think someone else has recommended that to me. That's so cool.
Yeah. Before I get lost, because I can ramble, I'm gonna
Oh,
say
yes, yes, sorry.
question. No,
We're
no, no.
back.
I love this, and I think that it's always good to check in on like where people are on that
Yeah,
day. So,
thank you. I agree.
that was the first question. How are you coping and staying sane in this time? Let's see.
Kind of
Oh,
same.
let's dive right into it. So much of this movie speaks to belonging and how you find your history, your people, like the people you identify with. What has been your personal journey with belonging and your own like Asian American identity?
It's interesting because Ellie is a first generation immigrant from China,
Mm-hmm.
and the way that she navigates in the world of Squamish is kind of based on the fact that she is this character in this world who is quite literally like the only Chinese family, as far as everyone knows, in Squamish.
Mm-hmm.
And for her, that's just kind of her routine life. She doesn't really even understand that maybe she might be set aside
Right.
from or on the outside. And for me, even though I was not from an immigrant family, I did grow up in a Caucasian family as I was adopted from Shanghai, China.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother is from New York and my dad is from Florida. And I
Mm.
always kind of grew up feeling a little not really sure of where I quite belonged, especially because,
Yeah.
I'm growing up in America and I'm also living in Orlando, Florida, and like kind of like in a smaller town part of Orlando, Florida, where the Asian community isn't as large for me as well. And it was kind of interesting, having white parents and also trying to connect with the Asian culture and the community, and also
Mm-hmm.
experiencing things like Ellie Chu, kind of being like the Chinese girl,
Mm-hmm.
or assumed
Or
that I'm
like
supposed to
feeling
be
that
good at.
divide.
Definitely. It's things that, people might not even realize, but just because of their circumstances and what they've grown up with, that some of their judgments might be stereotypical and quite literally changing the course of the way that people are going to conduct themselves in their lives.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really until I moved away from Orlando that I was really able, like, really just to see that. And just honestly, just getting out of high school. High school is
Yeah.
like a zoo sometimes,
It
and like
is.
you don't really know what's going on at times. And yeah, did that
I
make
love
sense?
that. Yeah. A lot of people, I guess, also pose that question of like, what parallels did you draw? And like, obviously, your experience has been so different from Ellie's, but at the same time, I feel like as any Asian American experiences, there are still like universal things within that experience. And so much of Slanted is like going through that personal journey with yourself and seeing other people in that journey and seeing like
Mhm.
where they are. Do you feel like, I guess, after high school and like through your career, that helped you identify more or
Mhm.
with your Asian American identity?
Well, I love that. I just love what you guys stand for because with every nationality and race or color, there is a very, very specific and unique story. And the fact that you
Yeah.
guys are showing different kinds of stories from the Asian American community is very vital and essential to everyone understanding that there's just not one way that a person might be.
Yeah.
And for me, as Leah, I feel like the amount of support in the community that does lie in my area of work now, especially more than ever,
Mm-hmm.
with there being inclusive opportunities and, you know, people giving more attention to the Asian American community. It's definitely changed a lot of, one, the way that I am in my work community, and also just the way that I, as Leah, feel knowing that opportunities like this are starting to exist more. As I
Yeah.
grew up, I never really had any role model that was kind of my age that I could really look up to that was Asian. They were usually like twice my age, or like Sandra Oh.
Yeah.
And not that her experience isn't relatable to me, but someone even just like Lana Condor arriving at the scene
Mm-hmm.
a couple years ago, that was the first time I, as Leah, was really able to envision a dream like this for
Yeah,
myself of
relate and like feel
possibly,
seen.
yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh, like that girl
Yeah.
is my age and she has the full Asian look and
Yeah.
likes things that I like. And
Mm-hmm.
that's
I
really
love that.
cool. Like,
I love that. Oh, I see. I see lots of comments down here. I love it.
oh, hi
Um,
guys.
I think people are feeling like really seen by the movie, and I think that's where the outpouring of love comes from. Just besides like having an Asian American coming of age story, but also like a queer Chinese first generation, like all of it. Um,
Mm,
I think all of those labels kind of are a lot sometimes to think about, but really people like those are real people's lives right now.
definitely.
And
And
they're
also, speaking on labels, you know, we see these characters as the nerd or the jock or
yeah.
the beautiful girl, or honestly, even the girl who is finding her sexuality.
Hmm.
And there's so many more layers to all of these characters that I'm hoping people can relate to and see that these stereotypes are completely false because we are so unique as human beings. Each single one of us. I mean, yes, some of us might have the nerd, jock, and
Yeah.
beautiful girl qualities, but that is not to define us at all. That's for sure.
No, there's so many layers, and I think the movie really makes each character super complex in that way and like slowly explores each character. Which
Yeah, I mean, you kind of see this nerd who is actually kind of like this kick-ass home warrior who like holds down the fort at home. She takes care of her family.
oh yeah,
She's like
with
a
her dad.
fully fledged, yeah, fully fledged human being who takes charge of her life, you know, but kind of in the ways that maybe a normal hero wouldn't. And then even this
Hmm.
beautiful girl, Aster, who is beautiful and used to attention, feels so misunderstood. She looks
Right.
so miserable in some of the situations where you think a popular girl would be happy. And then Paul also being this jock where you think he's just like, oh, oh, oh. And he's actually like,
Paul.
Paul is not like, oh, oh, oh. He's actually got the biggest heart and is one of the characters that really sees Ellie
Truly.
for who she is. And that like takes a lot of guts,
That
dude.
train scene at the end, like straight to my heart.
He is such a sweet baby angel. I will actually tell you about something that happened that day.
Yeah.
So Alice would kind of take Daniel and I aside, and she would ask us certain things about each other and just have little chats with us. And right before we shot this scene, she pulled me aside and was like, "Hey, like, what do you wish for Daniel and his life?" And I just
I
told
love
her
that.
it was so sweet. I love that too. Alice is great. But I just told her all the things that I wished for him and how I hope that he finds happiness and love in his life. And that was the end of that conversation. And then we go to shoot the scene where I'm like, I think it's of my face, and I'm turning around from when he's running
Hmm.
towards me. And she's like, oh, like, by the way, this is what Daniel wished for you. And he was like, I just wish Leah knew that she was enough and how
Oh,
loved she is and that she could see that. And oh my God, I was like,
great timing. I mean that is directing at its finest.
oh my God, it was crazy. And Al was like, okay, quick, action, roll. And I was just like bawling my eyes out. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so connected to these characters and
Yeah.
to Daniel himself and to Alice and Alexis too. She's like one of my best friends now. It's really cool.
I love that. Lots of questions, but one, people want to know if there's a sequel in the works.
So there's
Say what you can say.
there's a very big question mark, I'll put it that way.
Okay.
At the moment, Alice and the cast were really encouraging you guys to kind of use your imaginations and relate to the story in ways that maybe
I
you
love
would
that.
see it ending. So I don't know, maybe Alice will see some of that and maybe there will be a sequel. I don't know. Don't get me on record with that. I don't
Uh,
know. We'll see.
I love that statement. Maybe Alice will see some of that, and it
I
maybe.
think people have come up with a lot of really cool ideas, and it's actually been really amazing seeing people's interpretations of what they think is going to happen with Ellie and Paul and Ellie and Esther. And
Mm-hmm.
I love that people really feel that and are diving into those stories.
Yeah, me too. Is there a scene that you filmed that didn't make it to the final cut that you love?
Yes, there was a scene
Tell
where
us.
Esther explains her feelings about really feeling confused about God and Trig
Mm.
and feeling very guilty about what happened with Paul, just the kiss. And
Okay.
the kiss, and this is right after she, what is this? This is right after she finds out about Ellie and Paul
Okay.
in the
So she
gym
just like
scene.
left that situation.
Yes, she
Mhm.
just leaves that. And we're in this confessional booth, and I am on the other side, and she doesn't know that I'm listening to her. And it's in the confessional booth that Ellie and Paul meet up in
Right.
to talk. So that was a scene that got hedged.
That's
But
insane.
yeah, it was a beautiful scene. But I
Mhm.
also think that the point of Aster's emotions and her guilt was really evident
Right.
in other ways, and not necessarily guilt, but just feeling really confused about
Hmm.
everything that's happened in her feelings for Paul.
I Someone from our community submitted that question. I love that whoever asked that. Thank you, because we would not have known that if not for the question.
Surprise! Aster was very, very confused.
I think we're all really, really confused, and this movie
Right?
speaks to that side of us.
We're all just like,
Especially,
huh?
um, okay. Oh, there's a scene in the movie at the party where someone shouts, "The Chinese girl is here." Talk about that scene. Have you ever had experiences like that? You said that you did earlier, and yeah, talk about that. I'm sure it's something that Alice also put in very, very intentionally. So if you could also speak to like Alice's experiences and how that kind of transcended into your own characterization of Ellie.
It's really great how Alice kind of paints this experience because she
Yeah.
doesn't really go, here you go, this is what's happening. There are
Mm-hmm.
little things in this movie like choga choga choo choo, and even people
Right.
assuming that Ellie's going to write their papers, and the Chinese girl that kind of just very lightly paint this world for you of a very small town mindset that is not very exposed to, I guess, people of more color and more race.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I kind of laughed every single time I read that in the script because I just found it so like
Jarring, right?
people think like that. And,
But people really do, even now.
of course. And, sometimes it's not even necessarily because people have a feeling of resentment in their heart. It's more
Right.
just like they are part of their circumstances and they might not even know any better.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why films like this are so important because it sheds light on, oh, that's not normal. Maybe this is
Mm-hmm.
not okay. Because similarly here, I would experience things in high school like, wow, like even, wow, you're pretty for a Chinese girl. And even comments like that, I remember being in high school and being like, oh yeah, like I'm cute. Like thanks.
I
But
love
looking
that.
back now, I'm like, for a Chinese girl,
Yeah, what's the point in the
that
addition?
doesn't really add up. And while people might not be feeling negativity during this, it
Right.
does kind of put you in a category of being other than, or you are special because of this reason, not
Mm-hmm.
just because you are you and that is enough.
Mm-hmm. No,
And yeah, I feel like we've all kind of experienced things like that.
definitely. And like you said, a lot of people aren't very malicious about it. It's just really how they think, and maybe they're thinking that they can relate to you in some way when in fact it
Yeah.
does put you in that box.
And I think there are other more important things to look at
Hmm.
than what we think of other people. People are very surprising. Literally in this movie, they're like, people are not what you think, like in the
Oh yeah,
letters.
in the trailer. The trailer was great.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Dude, I watched that trailer and dude, I was bawling. And also I was like, wait, this actually like accurately depicts our story.
Without
Nice.
spoiling the end.
Yes. I was like,
Yeah.
you guys left out a whole half of the movie in the trailer. Huh? Yes, though. Yes, I'm glad because I
I love
didn't want people to know the ending.
I love it. Let's see. Oh, so our issue 4 that's coming out this fall, the theme is revolution. And I wanted to ask you, like right now our contributors and editors, they're really like diving into their own stories and creating narratives around revolution and their own personal revolutions. I wanted to ask you, what does revolution mean to you, and how, I mean, it does not have to be related to the movie. I personally think the movie is pretty revolutionary, but yeah, what does that mean to you, and are you going through any personal revolutions?
Revelations or revolutions,
Revolutions,
but also with revelations.
but also with revolution. One
Okay.
together. I like the word play.
Hey. Um, Revolution to me is when people are not even necessarily people, but there is a group conscience that is rising for a greater cause. And
Yeah.
I feel like, the personal revolutions in my life, very, very small, are honestly just trying to get through the situation at hand. That is my
Hmm.
personal revolution.
And that's
But I
important.
mean, it is very important because while all of us are kind of doing this together, it might feel like the things that we are doing in quarantine are quite small,
Hmm.
when in fact they're very, very quite big. And I think it's
Hmm.
very brave of everyone to trying to put their best foot forward and even make something happen in their lives during this very, very sensitive time. But
Hmm.
when we're talking specifically about this film, the fact that this is painting a story of an Asian American experience, I feel like that is part of something revolutionary, part of something very brand new for our communities and for people of color.
Hmm.
And it's not even just Ellie Chu. We see Astor Flores' character, her being Latinx, and
Hmm.
them telling the story of that. And that is so, so, so important. And on top of that, really diving into the first stages of people finding their own unique voice and their own sexuality. Stories like that are now being shown, and it is revolutionary. It's the first time that people are really starting to feel like their voices are heard and like they are being seen, and hopefully that they know that they're not alone. And thank
Hmm.
God for technology, because
Oh
without
yeah.
technology and social media, we wouldn't be able to really keep in contact with each other and continue building up this community and each other.
Hmm.
Did that make sense? I'm
That's
just like
cool.
talking.
No, I love that. And I'm also just talking. I was saying to some of my team members, this is actually like my first Instagram live. So I was like, you guys can
Ah.
watch me during this. But I love what you said about her, like, and Aster finding their own sexuality. But also, I loved watching Paul also figure it out for himself and what that love looks like. And I don't know, it was very touching to me.
And what's really cool about Paul's character, he's such a hero in this film because you see his love win out. You see his love win out over the judgment and over the things that he thinks he's supposed to feel and
Hmm.
experience towards someone like Ellie. And through this whole movie, you never see Paul trying to change her, which I didn't even really notice until after I even watched the film. Even in the scene where they're shopping for talent show clothing, Paul doesn't say like, "Oh, here, put on this crop top and like these mini jeans." Paul's like,
Hmm.
"No, we're gonna get you something that is still you and comfortably okay for you, and but something that's a little more elevated."
Yeah.
And seeing people like that who kind of just accept you for who you are, and they literally just see you for the first time. I feel
Hmm.
like that's so important and a really big lesson for all of us to kind of learn when it comes to understanding the people that we love situations.
Yeah. And I
Paul's,
think
I
the
love Paul.
I love Paul too, and I love Paul's character. But I also think Paul played a big part in helping Ellie's dad see her as
Oh,
well. He has that line that's like, "You don't
yes.
see her for her," and I think that parent, like, there has to be a better word than offspring. I'm about to use like offspring, but that parent child, that parent child relationship. Um, yeah, there's something like when you're coming of age, you also have to reach that boundary and that wall that like your parents built around you to protect you, but now you have to like show them who you are. Do you feel
Very,
like you
very
had
much
parallels in your own
so.
life?
I definitely have those parallels. I mean, my family and I were very, very tight knit when I was growing up, and
Mm-hmm.
so tight knit that when I also, like Ellie, was kind of experiencing things of, maybe wanting to branch out in my interests or this or that or just anything new happening to me in general. It has been a very delicate kind of weaving through the family like situation with kind of growing up and having my parents
Right.
realize that I'm not 2 years old anymore or like 5 years
It's
old
hard for
anymore.
them.
It's so hard because I mean, even I treat my sister that way sometimes. I'm like, oh, you
Mm-hmm.
little baby. She's like
Oh
20 years
yeah, me
old.
too.
Absolutely.
They're forever
She's
baby sisters.
forever baby sisters. But my sorry, I just lost my train of thought. My roommate was like really yelling in the background. Um, my oh yes, my favorite part that I can really relate to with Ellie is that scene when she sees her father making the dumplings for her, and and this is something that Alice told me about because she did grow up in a first generation immigrant family, and I did not,
Mm-hmm.
but in her family, people didn't really say I love you that much, and they didn't really
Right.
go into detail about their feelings. But you walk in there and you see her father doing this very, very caring act of love for her,
Mm-hmm.
making these dumplings without having to say, like, I understand you want to go to college and you want to get out of here and all this. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just such a beautiful, silent scene where Ellie understands what a big step that was for her father to take with sacrifice and really holding that space for her as an
Right.
individual human being.
I know.
Like, and seeing my parents do that on a daily basis, letting go in little ways, you know, it's very similar to the way that Ellie Chu feels that love. And in that moment too, I could totally tap into that and
Mm-hmm.
kind of bring that into Ellie's experience.
Yeah. I definitely think it's like, I mean, other cultures as well, but especially Asian cultures, like food is their love language. Food and
Yes.
actions is like one and the same.
How you take
Um,
care of it's hospitality and
yeah,
love.
it's hospitality. You
Mhm.
talked about how Alice obviously had like this first generation Asian American experience. Um, I guess how closely did you and Alice work and like for her to like tell you about her experience? How much did you learn about her that was just through her directing? And how much was it like she sat down and was like, this was my experience?
I learn new things about Alice Wu every single internet meeting we have and every single text we share every single day because she is one of the most selfless human beings I've ever met in my
Mm.
life. And she does not like talking about herself. And it's
Yeah.
interesting because we worked so closely together where she could just tell when I wasn't there, and she could also tell when I was like insanely happy about something. And she just knew what I was feeling through this whole thing. So it was
Wow.
kind of, yeah, we had a very, very close bond with each other. And this was the first time that I feel like I really trusted somebody with the vision and the message of this film and every single artistic choice that she had. She was
Mm-hmm.
very clear and concise about that.
Mm-hmm.
And she would share experiences with me that were very, very specific. And rightly
At
so.
specific time.
Yes, I now understand why she wasn't like, here's a long list of like what my life is. Because I tell you right now, if she did, I would have been crying through the whole film because she just has such a beautiful, rich story.
Right.
And yeah, but it was because of her really cracking my heart open and also being willing to share her life with me that I was able to find the authenticity in Ellie Chu. I mean, she is Ellie Chu, but also with
Mm-hmm.
very large paint strokes of Leah on top of that. And what was really cool too is she really helped me find Ellie Chu. She didn't say like, oh, you got
Right.
to be this way, you got to be that way. It was let's look inside Leah and see what parts of you are like Ellie Chu, despite all the qualities
That's
that make
incredible.
you not like Ellie Chu. It is really
Right.
cool because I was a bit daunted in the beginning, being like, oh my goodness, how am I going to completely embody this side of myself? But Alice kind of showed me that this side of myself is so okay, and there's so much to
Mm-hmm.
discover.
Mm-hmm. And that everyone kind of has a bit value true in them when
Yes,
like on their journey.
very
Um,
much so.
you sing in the movie, and you sing in real life. Was that always in the script, or was that something that Alice like found within you that relates to Ellie?
So this song was written by Joe Pernice, and it was
Mm-hmm.
actually performed in the movie and sang
Mm-hmm.
by Brandy Edis. And it
Uh-huh.
was kind of already written before I had even hopped onto the project.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like it was just kind of a plus that I was able to connect with the musical side of Ellie as well. Something for her that is actually much more private than the way I express my music. I, as Leah, I write music, and sometimes I'll do like random Instagram lives and just like jam out for people. But Ellie's not really like that. It's something that's much more in secret for her.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of why the talent show performance, even though I wasn't actually singing, it was just so important for me to experience as Ellie because it was kind of her really showing the world a bit of herself that
Yeah.
this world didn't know about.
Mm-hmm. It is something she does just like in the privacy of her own home that like Paul happened
Yes.
to see as he was taking
Paul
up.
put her on blast.
I
He was
know.
like, here, play her song. Like,
Yeah.
what if she
I'm
didn't
so
want
sorry if
to?
people haven't seen this movie. So we're just spoiling some bits of it, but not too big.
Oh.
People want to know if it's gonna be on Spotify.
I think Halfway is on Spotify.
Oh, it
Uh,
is on Spotify.
it is on Spotify, but it's not me singing. But it's still a beautiful song, nevertheless.
Have you sang the song? I'm sure. Have you played and sang the song?
Oh,
Personally.
absolutely. I actually took guitar lessons for 2 months to be able to learn to play that song. See, Ellie can like
Yeah,
do
pick.
do, and I can
Yeah.
like
Mm-hmm. I
I can
love the
like
sound effects.
I can like makeshift kind of do a guitar. So I had to really learn how to play that and sing that too, because to be able to match my lips to
Mm-hmm. Someone else.
um yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, I really, really want to get this right. It would be so weird if it didn't look right.
Right. Like the breath was like wrong or anything. Yeah. I
Yes,
didn't think about that.
yes. So I did sing along with her voice and I was singing it out. And that made it much more personal too. Just
Mm-hmm.
being able to sing it out loud and really embody that, like I really did feel those emotions. It was great.
I I didn't know that this song was written beforehand.
It was.
Love it. Okay, let's see. Oh, at Slanted, we're all about creating community, lifting up our Asian American like led businesses, artists, freelancers. Do you have like favorite brands, people that you want to shout out?
Okay, so I would love to shout out actually they're not necessarily brands, but they're people.
Yeah.
I would like to shout out Nicole Kang. She is the most lovely human being, and you guys are going to see her on Batwoman, and she's on Netflix's You, and she is a Korean American actress, and she is just absolutely incredible, up and coming. Someone else I'd like to shout out is this really, really awesome comic, wait, comedian, not
Comedian.
comedian slash writer named Charlene Yee. And
Mm-hmm.
you guys can check out her Instagram and everything. She writes the coolest poetry that I have read in a while.
Oh,
And
amazing. I'm gonna write that down.
yeah, yeah, Charlene Yee. Here, actually, I'm gonna write it in the chat. And then also, I would just like to shout out. I don't know what the name of these are, so maybe you can help me. I've
Mm-hmm.
been eating these brown sugar boba milk bubble bars. And you
Oh,
can,
I've seen them all over Instagram and I see people trying to make them. I don't know, they're like
why
milk tea
would they?
bars, but I don't know if it's a specific brand. Do
They are
people know?
so good. You guys need to. Okay, I'm gonna type it in here too. Bubble brown sugar boba tea bar. Oh my God, these are so incredible. And even though they're not a specific brand, they are Korean, so you can find them at
Mm-hmm.
like any Korean mart near you. Literally look up Kmart. And they are incredible. And another one that I'm really surprised a lot of people do know and don't know, and you know this, is
Mm-hmm.
Yakult.
Oh, I know.
I have been drinking those like absolute crazy. And I thought everyone knew about them, but apparently some people don't know about them. So
They
guys, if
should. I mean,
you
between To All the Boys I've Ever Loved and this movie, they should know by now.
yes, I'm typing this here if you guys want a really tasty treat, but also something that'll make your stomach feel really good, don't drink too many because bathroom problems. But
Is it supposed to make your stomach feel good?
so it's actually a probiotic, and
Oh,
it
I
has
just like
life.
had them as a child, like from the freezer.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
has
I
like
mean,
a trait.
I didn't know that they were really that they were good for you when I was a kid. They were just really tasty, but they
Mm-hmm.
do have probiotic cultures in them that help with your digestive system.
There you go, people.
Did you ever try Calpico? Do you like Calpico?
Why does that sound so familiar?
Calpico is kind of like another Yakult, but it's not probiotic, and it's kind of this like what this person said here. It's a cultural milk drink.
Ah,
Yeah, it has this it's like yeah, it's like Yakult. It's like yogurt, but still kind of like watery. It's really, really good. You should try it.
I mean, the brand or the version that I had was called Biofuel, but it's
Biofill.
essentially the same thing. Oh,
It's kind of
our
all the same thing.
Christy and Katerina, who are co-founders of Slanted, they're in the comments saying that there's a peach Calpico.
Yes, and strawberry.
Ah, and someone says, have you
Yeah.
tried it with soju? Which I was like,
No, I do
no.
not drink, you guys. I wait, is soju alcohol, right? Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like sake. Okay, yeah,
oh yeah,
no, I don't
Christy said
drink.
that. Good to know. Tips, snack and drink tips from.
Yeah, I wish I knew more brands and things. I mean, I shop at Muji way too much for my own
Who
good.
doesn't love Muji?
I have so many Muji pens and so many like articles of clothing from Muji.
Oh, I love this question. What was the best thing they did in the auditions before the movie? From ISO near Renan.
The best thing we did in auditions before, oh, someone said mochi. Guys, I love mochi. Something something that we did in the auditions, Paul and I had to like throw paper clips into a jar to pretend like we were playing ping pong. We did the ping pong scene
Oh,
where Ellie's like, my mom's dead, and this and that. And I just remember us trying so hard to throw these things and like forgetting our lines and just like having so much fun. But another one that comes to mind is the first time Alexis and I ever met, we did our scene together from the hot tub. And it was just getting so fun. We were just having so
mhm.
much fun with it. I kind of felt like we were like putting on our own little show for the casting director.
Oh, I love that.
And yeah, and the casting director was like, "Oh my gosh, like let me go get a prop really quick." And she like got this cardboard and like set it up between us. And she's like, "Okay, now Leah, we're gonna put you on this side, and then Alexis, you're on this side." And then that's when we did the confessional scene, the one that ended up not
Oh,
making the
hmm
movie. But it was so cool because like the casting director who sometimes it's pretty scary going in there with the casting director because of nerves and whatnot.
yeah.
But she was so fun. She was just,
Yeah, she
it
was
was like
rolling with the
playtime.
punches. Hmm
Yeah, it was like we're gonna take a crack at this and we have no clue if it's gonna look good or if it'll book us the roles, but we're having so much fun.
And that was when you met Alexis?
That was the first day I met her. Her and I, it was really weird. We just like met each other and we just kind of had the same energy where we were really open, bouncy, and bubbly, and we were just talking about everything. Her
Hmm
family, my family, the way that we became actresses, and we had actually had like a couple friends in common that we never. I don't think it's so weird. I feel like I should have met Alexis before I met
Oh,
her,
like
but
mutual friends.
yeah, a couple of them that were just like, wow, like we had been living lives like completely parallel to each other, but like in different areas of the
Hmm
city. Um, and she drove me home after the audition because I don't have a car
Whoa,
and I
I
was gonna
love
take the metro bus. And she was like, "No, girl, hop in."
Oh, I love
She drove me home and we traded info and we were like, "Yo, like let's hang out even if we don't book this."
but history was made.
His revolutionary.
A revolution began that day.
Yes. I
Let me see if
never knew that
I have
we'd be
any
so
more
close.
questions. Katerina slacked me like, I don't even know when, to tell me I was at my 30-minute mark, but I think
Oh
we're at
no.
30. But it's all good. This has been really fun.
I
Oh,
can chill
people want to
until 3.
know,
You can chill.
yeah, what school was the movie filmed in?
Mm. Hmm.
Hmm.
Okay. We were in Nyack. We were in
Okay.
Nyack, New York, in a high school in that area. Actually, I'm going to send you guys out there. I'm going to challenge you on the internet. If you go to that school,
If you
let us
go to
know.
the school, please shout out your school in the comments in
Yes,
caps lock.
let me, if any of you guys are out there, let me know because I actually don't remember the name.
Yeah, somebody was like, I was looking
Any other
for the
questions?
schools in the suburbs. Um,
Sorry.
I love that. What is your zodiac sign?
My zodiac sign, I am a rat. Mm,
Oh, your Chinese
is
zodiac
it?
sign. I was thinking like
Oh,
astrology. You're
uh,
the rat. Oh, it's your year.
yes, I am the rat. What are you?
I'm year of the dog, but my little sister's year of the rat, which
Oh,
I love.
yes. It's
Mhm.
yes, yes, rat. Yes.
Oh, sun, moon, rising. Do you know your astrology signs? I see in these comments.
I don't know my sun, moon, rising. I'm Aster rising, Paul moon.
Everyone should be Paul Moon, actually.
Oh my God, if you're moon than Paul, you're good to go. You are good to
When is your
go.
birthday? Maybe we could figure this out.
Um, my birthday is December 9th, 96.
December 9th. So I actually don't know. People tell
Sag.
me.
Sag.
Oh, okay, okay.
Sagittarius.
I love that we're both like we're not sure.
I'm like,
Um, I love it. Oh, can you ask her to say hi to her Brazilian fans? They're legit popping off in the comments.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
I see it.
Brazil! I just gotta tell y'all, y'all are like a moving force. I see you guys. I love your comments. And I actually like, it's weird. You can like kind of look at like who follows you. I think the most people that follow me are Brazilian, and that is like,
Really?
that's so cool. That
Yeah,
is
that's
so, so,
amazing.
so cool. I want you guys to know I see all of your comments. And I remember I actually looked at a thread once where I had to go on Google Translate so I could understand what everyone was saying. But like, you guys are awesome. Thanks.
People still want to know is there gonna be a sequel? Use your imagination. That was the answer.
Guys, the sequel is you.
I love that. The
The,
sequel is you.
but actually, I was talking about it with Alice. The sequel really is these people that go through these things and then
Mm-hmm.
have different lives after. There's so many different kinds of sequels that they could have. But, you know, Alice did say if there was to be a sequel, it wouldn't necessarily be about um it wouldn't be about these two completely being like, oh my God, Aster and Ellie are my life. Like I'm
Right.
in love. But it would be its own special story
Mm-hmm.
on its own as well. So I love that, like still including that, but also it being its separate thing as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, one more in case we get cut off. What do you think is the greatest challenge of Asian American representation in media by Windy Rain?
In media, I would say
In
that
media or in life, especially right now with all of this going on.
I'd say in media and just in life in general, a lot of you said female, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, female and Asian.
Female Asian Americans are kind of being underestimated in ways that I hope start to change. I think that there's kind of a certain stereotype around, especially the female and the Asian American and Asian in general, that is one that might be a bit more quiet and more modest and not as bold and outspoken. But I think that
Yeah.
we're starting to kind of turn those tables around. And I
Mm-hmm.
also hope that a film like this can also state that, you know, the female Asian American story is important. And, you know, amidst everything that is going
Varied.
on, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
whether you're female or not, this specific telling of the story is very important. But also amidst these times, you know, I'm kind of just hoping that people band together and really try to see the human aspects of all different kinds of
Yeah,
races.
of living.
Right now, we really need to be focused on being of service to one another and kind of
Mm-hmm.
putting aside our differences. So I hope that, especially for Asian women at the moment, the opportunities continue to open up for them as people do realize these things and band together as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think right now a lot of people are learning about boundaries, but also like where to push and what, like everything has become, everyone and everything is showing its true colors for the good and for the worst of it. But
Very
I
much
think,
so.
but this has been super awesome. I think we're like at the mark. I know it kicks you off like immediately as soon as you hit it. But this has been so lovely to chat with you.
Oh, it's been so nice to chat with you too. This has been a
Yeah, I'm
really
sure
cool
you've
time.
been crazy with interviews, virtual interviews, I'm sure.
It's been
But
fun. It's been fun.
yeah. Do you have anything exciting coming up that you can shout out?
Actually, I do play a character called George Fan on the CW show Nancy Drew,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys can stream all of that on the CW app. And there will be a season 2 at some point in the future, but right now I'm just kind of focusing on staying sane and
Yeah,
trying to get myself through this time. But yeah, just making
I
good
love it.
food, hanging out.
I love it. We're trying to secret for everybody. We're pulling together a digital cookbook that's like parents that are teaching their kids how to cook like traditional Asian dishes
Yes.
right now. Everyone's like learning over FaceTime. We're like calling their parents and being like, hey, how do you cook this? And we're sneak peek. We're gonna try to pull something together.
Oh
So
my God, I
we'll
love
share the dishes with
that.
you so you can try it.
Share the dishes. My boyfriend and I have been making our own homemade ramen and our own tteokbokki. He makes the best tteokbokki. It's
Ooh.
so good. I hope people out
Does he
there
follow his
are
own
experimenting.
recipe?
It's funny because he is like white and has his own special recipe, and it's good. It's like it tastes like grandma's recipe. Like that's for sure.
Christy says you should submit a recipe to the
I
cookbook.
will. If you
Yeah.
guys could email that to me after, or just even DM me, I would love
Hmm.
to. I would love to submit that.
I'll do that. I think a lot of people everyone's a cook now.
Everyone is a cook now. All you need is Instagram and a pan.
Okay, I'm gonna call it here.
Okay, yes, we
Thank you
should go,
everybody for joining
guys.
us. Thank you to
Oh,
Leah. Thank you. It's been awesome. And yeah,
thank you,
watch the movie if
guys.
you haven't seen it.
Yes, thank you for being here. I just want to tell you guys, thank you for watching this movie, supporting this film. Alexis, I, Daniel, and Alice see you guys, and we love you. So yeah, thank you
We
guys.
love it.
All right, guys,
Thank
I'm gonna
you.
sign off. Don't forget to DM me. I would love to submit.
Yeah, we'll
Okay,
chat
bye.
soon. Bye.